Hey, Indian Creek 8th grade students, it's Professor Blazek, and I'm here again with our e-learning lesson for today. It is Friday. We're at another Friday. It is May 8th. We are down to about a week and a half left in the school year. Only one more Friday left after this, and I hope everyone is having a great day so far. I'm hoping this will be one of our quicker e-learning videos just because we're through Animal Farm. We don't have as much to talk about. Like I said, it's Friday. I'm guessing some of you have some plans for today or ready to get on with the weekend. So let's just jump into our daily updates. So we had 43 out of 51 students who submitted the attendance form for language arts yesterday. We're up to 18 people who have submitted their allegory chart for Animal Farm. So just keep on plug in with those once you're done. Obviously, if you need to go back and review any of the characters that we talked about, you can kind of piece together through the different videos. We kind of took a little break after the first couple, so really these last few talking about chapters like 6, 7, 8, and 9 will be the majority of the characters for that allegory chart. So for those of you who don't have it turned in yet, just whenever you're done, make sure you get it turned in because it's a pretty easy way to get full credit for an assignment here at the end of the year. And then we had 26 out of 51, so literally like right at that halfway number of students who submitted their Chapter 10 response. Remember, that is a required assignment, so again, just please make sure once you're done with that, go ahead and get that turned in. I did have a couple different people email me about that yesterday. We will be going over it a bit here in this video, so if you've been waiting for it, no big deal. So our plan today, we'll talk about the Google form for today. We will go over that Chapter 10 response. It is Friday, which means it is Genius Hour. We're getting close to the end with that project as well. So just a reminder that that's what you should be using your language arts work time on today. There is an optional quiz that is running for vocab unit 11. And then actually before we move into social studies and just you get your daily reminder to be working on your decades project, there is one other thing that I want to be sharing with you, which a lot of you probably saw in Google Classroom for social studies, talking about your class motto, because we had people submit their ideas. Those are now in a Google form, but because we had, I want to say it was 19 different motto ideas, it's probably going to take more than one round of voting. So we'll be talking about that as well. All right, so let's talk about some of the journal highlights from yesterday. The journal prompt from yesterday asked for you to write about a situation in which you had either very, very bad or the worst luck, or a situation where you had very, very good luck. So obviously I couldn't include every story and not the full story, so I kind of just tried to sum up some of the highlight answers for both worst luck and best luck. So we'll start with some stories about very, very bad luck from you and your classmates. We had someone getting chased by a raccoon. We had a Minecraft disaster where that grind to get to, I believe it was diamonds being collected in Minecraft and then lost. Another student talked about when she had an AirPod fall into the tiniest possible spot in her sister's car. Couple different people mentioned some of the things that were missing during the quarantine. Could be spring sports, 8th grade promotion, although we'll be talking about what's going on with that, and just a lot of the other things, confirmation and other get-togethers and celebrations. Another student constantly stubbing his pinky toe and then culminating in dropping a glass on it. Sounds very, very painful. Another student mentioned he was on a hike with his family and fell into a stream, I believe it was, and then hit his head. Another student who had a very high likelihood of being cleared to return to school and sports after being sick. Unfortunately, she fell in the very small percentage who were not healed after a certain amount of time. and another student who told a story that had multiple instances of bad luck, which culminated in him having to miss baseball practice. So those were the worst luck stories. And then surprisingly, that was more often what the journal response was. I didn't have nearly as many stories about people who were sharing times where they had good luck. But some of the ones that we did get, one student escaped a potential gas explosion with her dad, which was obviously very, very good luck to avoid that. We had a couple people talk about instances in PE where one student made a crazy catch during off the wall. Another student who was able to score the perfect goal playing soccer in PE, where it was just, the ball happened to find its way through all the different people. Kind of going on the flip side of that student who wrote about bad luck with Minecraft, we had another one who talked about being able to avoid a major grind and get something done in Minecraft, and I think it was about 10 minutes. Another student who was in a accident but was able to avoid major injuries, was wearing a helmet. So right there is a PSA for why you should always be wearing a helmet. And another student who talked about getting to switch rooms with a sister of hers and how that was a lucky situation for her as well. So those were some of the good luck highlights from the journal from yesterday. All right, so for our Google form for today, we still have the end of year plans. Part 1 with Animal Farm, just a reminder that we finished the allegory chart, so please submit that when you're done with it. There was also the short written response for Chapter 10 that was assigned yesterday. Please submit that when you're done as well. Then it is Genius Hour. It's Friday, so remember that that's what you should be doing today with your language arts work time. And just a reminder, the Genius Hour projects are due the last day of class, which is a week from Wednesday, which is May 20th. And then just a reminder, there is an optional quizzes game on Unit 11. It's 45 questions. You can miss up to 5 to get full credit in the grade book. So for any of you who would like to take advantage of that, go ahead and do that, and can do nothing but boost your grade at this point. And then finally, part 4, it's a little similar to something that was in our Utopia project, but for your attendance response today, if you could create a brand new holiday for people to celebrate, what would it be? When would it take place? How would it be celebrated? All the different things that are going into it. You're creating your own holiday. So if you want to take the kind of easy way and put it on your birthday, make it all about you. I've had people write about that before. If you feel like there needs to be a holiday to celebrate a certain thing, most professions have their own holidays, appreciation days, appreciation weeks. But if there are other things that you feel should get their own holiday, or just maybe you have an idea for a really fun tradition, and think that more people should celebrate it. So that is your attendance response for today, and I will have highlights of those during the stream here on Monday. All right, so just jumping into Animal Farm quickly. We talked yesterday, this is about Chapter 10. We said that the word revolution has two main meanings, two kind of separate meanings. One is like the Revolutionary War, where there is a sudden change in political power when people are rising up and revolting against the government. And then we also have the meaning of a complete turn, or, one complete circle. We talked about how in cars, there's the gauge for RPMs, which is revolutions per minute, the number of times that the wheels are spinning in a minute. So this just asked you which definition you think better describes the story. I had a couple different people ask if they could write about both, so I just on here wanted to address it in case anyone else was wondering and wanted to do that. Yes, you can write about both. Just be clear about what parts of the story relate to which definition, because obviously I think that for the first definition, you would want to talk about the rebellion itself. You would want to talk about the Battle of the Cowshed and all those things that went into the overthrow of man and the placement of animals in charge of animal farms, because that would be the change in political power. You could also talk about the moment when Napoleon had the dogs chase Snowball off the farm, because that would be another sudden change in political power as well. You went from having these two competing voices to just one who would eventually become a dictator. And then obviously, if you're looking more at the second definition, if you think about the beginning of the story to the end, especially that final image that the animals can no longer tell the difference between pigs and man, and the whole impetus of the revolution was to overthrow man and get away from what he was doing. You could talk about how by the end of the story, the pigs have literally become indistinguishable from man. You know, they walk on two legs, they carry whips, they're drinking, smoking, listening to the radio, they're wearing clothes, they're eating separately, they're not creating any of the food on the farm. And so that would be what you could talk about if you were looking into the second definition. All right, but if you want to talk about both and just what parts of the story each one relates to, you can do that as well. All right, so then for Genius Hour, I had a student who requested the Genius Hour rubric, and so I shared that out today in Classroom. It's a little bit different from the first Genius Hour rubric, just because obviously we're not actually getting to present these. So I had to take out a couple of the learning skills that were related to that. But so the three requirements that you will be graded on when you submit your Genius Hour project is how you use technology to create your project, so that it's clear that you're using visuals, that there's creativity present. And if you want to get into that 4 area, you're using the full employment of the project's capability. So that would be, if you're doing slides, including pictures and video, and using speaker notes, using multiple different types of fonts and colors and things like that. You're using all of the different things that the technology offers you, as opposed to going more for like a simple cookie cutter type presentation. Using your visuals, for that, you want to make sure that you're using visuals throughout the project. So pictures, videos, graphics, all that type of stuff is not just popping up like on your title slide and then maybe one other time. And also you want to make sure that you're using visuals that are clear and help your viewer, which in this case is really just me, understand your topic. So if you can use videos or images that actually make it more clear, that expand on what you're saying, that's when you talk about getting into that 4 area. So you want to make sure that your visuals relate to your topic, and in that exceeding the requirement, it actually expands and provides more information than just the text that you have on your slides. All right, and then finally, the other score that you will be given is on your command of written language. So minimal errors in usage and conventions, that your sentences are complete, your ideas are complete. And then it's just to exceed, you want to show advanced use of language and formatting. So using some more complex words, formatting your text in a way that, again, is outside of just the typical kind of cookie cutter, where it's like you have your title and then bullet points and then maybe a picture here on every slide. You want to mix things up. You can work with the different options that Google Slides provide you in terms of how you can format, and that would actually relate right back into the first learning goal about using all of the capabilities of your project presentation style. So that is the rubric for Genius Hour, just so as you're finishing up your project here, you can be referring to this, making sure that you feel as though you are meeting or exceeding all 3 of those learning expectations. And then this is what will be used to actually score your project once it's done. All right. So I appreciate the student reaching out to me for that. I hadn't sent it out, but I wanted to do that and take the time to go over it on here, because obviously that's something we would be doing if we were actually in class together as well. Okay. So then again, for quizzes, right here is the code for those of you who are wanting to take it, the Unit 11 test. 45 questions. I want to say that means that 28 of them are specific to Unit 11. The other 17 are review word roots. So just make sure. There were all those reviews yesterday. So hopefully everyone is still comfortable with those for this today. And then, so there's your code. I don't really need to say any more because I feel like the people who have been submitting those have been pretty consistent about it. All right, so then the other thing, the last thing that I wanted to mention before I let you go for today is I had sent out the Google form asking you for ideas for your class motto, because that's one of the things that each class gets to choose. It goes into the 8th grade promotion booklet, and it's just something, it's another way for you to get to have your voice heard and have an impact on your class's promotion ceremony. And so we got a lot more ideas than normal. I feel like that's because people had so long to think about it, and it's we're all in quarantine, and so I appreciate all of the ideas that people gave. But what that means is we ended up with, I want to say it was 19 options here that your classmates put in as far as ideas for a class motto. So rather than asking you to choose just one, because I feel like, that means that the quote unquote winning motto might get 5 votes. I would like for you to choose up to 5. Now, if you only like one motto, you can vote for only one motto, but I'm asking you to limit your selection to 5. And then depending on how the voting works out, my guess is, unless there's just a runaway winner, we will do a second round, a final round of this class motto vote, and that'll be sometime early next week. So when you go through here, you can read through all 19, decide on which 5 you think are the best, or which 4, 3, 2, 1. As long as you don't vote for more than 5, you're fine. And then, like I said, there will probably be a second round of voting early next week. And then, since we are on the topic of 8th grade promotion, I don't know how many of you saw, there was an email or a letter sent out yesterday that your voting results for 8th grade promotion indicated pretty strongly, I want to say it was about 70% of you preferred to go with the option of postpone and hope that larger group gatherings are allowed in June or July. And then there was a tentative date, I believe it was Tuesday. Let me see if I can see it here. I want to say it was Tuesday, July 28th was the date that was sent out in this letter. Hold on, sorry, I should have had this up before. Yes, Tuesday, July 28th at 7 o'clock p.m. is the tentative date for 8th grade promotion, just so you know and your folks know, your family. And then obviously if large gatherings have not been opened up by then, there will be some other sort of plan in place as well. So this means that students who are receiving awards, who are valedictorian, salutatorian, you'll be notified sometime, obviously between now and then, with the option to, or with the request to come up with a speech. And then there will also be students we need to give a couple other speeches during the ceremony as well. Obviously, more details and more plans will come once we get closer, and especially once we know whether or not large group gatherings are going to be allowed. So we've got some time, but just so you know that is the thinking right now. All right, so social studies, keeping on with those decades projects, should be getting close to about the halfway point, or if you were separating the two, should be just about wrapping up with your research, getting on to your creating. It's Genius Hour today for language arts, so form Genius Hour. There's the optional vocab unit, and then please submit your votes for the 8th grade class motto. Remember, you can choose up to 5. All right. Otherwise, everyone have a wonderful weekend. I miss all of you. I feel so bad that this is how we're ending our school year, but we're so close. And so I hope everyone is ready to just continue and finish strong. And like I've said, I'm looking forward to seeing these final projects in both of the classes that everyone is coming up with. All right. In the meantime, as always, any questions, any issues, anything at all, please email myself or your other teachers, and we will do all we can to help you. All right. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Spend some time with your family. Go outside. Enjoy, hopefully, some nice weather. And obviously, celebrate your moms on Sunday. And I'll be back on Monday with our next live stream. And until then, this is Professor Blazek wishing you all a great weekend.